Hello, this is James. So the KC Cup is underway, and Konami saw fit to drop a whole bunch of new archetypes on us just before it started. Regardless of how cool mermaids or ultra athletes are, I think that the most efficient and effective deck that a lot of us, myself included, are going to be going to the KC Cup with is Fur Hires. So in this video, I want to talk about Fur Hires and their place in the KC Cup meta. So the first matchup is the perennial foe of the furry clan, and that is the Harem. The Harem, with all of their banishing nonsense, prevents the Fur Hires from getting their mojo going. But the name of this game is don't be tempted by that weak bait. Do not use Wiz to negate a Windstorm of Etiquette, because it's going to prevent you from getting your OTK, because the Odeon player, he's baiting you. Okay, he's baiting you so that he can hit you with the Wall of Disruption. With Odeon, he has a bunch of traps, so you need to triage, you need to prioritize your Wiz negations for ambush, but also for your Walls of Daddy and Treacherous Trap Hole. Even though Endless Trap Hell decks have a lot of traps, Treacherous Trap Hole still fits because Endless Trap Hell can remove them from the graveyard. Another sticking point is Queen. You might be tempted to save your Treacherous Trap Hole for Queen, but that is a bad move in general. Amazon players, at least the way I play the Harem, I don't want to call the Queen to battle first thing because I know that she's gonna get hit with the Treacherous Trap Hole. So when I'm doing my first Princess summon, usually I go into Swordswoman because the Swordswoman gives that damage and is more expendable than her Noble Monarch. What you want to do with your Treacherous Trap Hole in your Fur Hires deck is just hit any two monsters. Just remove any two monsters, preferably a princess and something else, and that's going to kill the Harem player's tempo. And then if Queen comes out, because if they get a second princess, they can special Queen. And then if they draw Queen, they can simply special her off of ambush. And that's the reason that you're going to want to reserve your Dompa. Dompa should be saved. If you see an Odeon, don't go immediately into Dompa. Save your Dompa and then use him to remove Queen. And then you can, by that point, you should have your Dinah all ready to go. And then the Dinah can attack for those remaining life points. The next matchup is Ultra Athlete. I think this is going to be the toughest for hire matchup. With the Harem, it's been kind of neck and neck. They're both tier 1. Mermaids, I don't think they're much of a threat, but the Ultra Athletes, they're fast and they're huge and they are merciless. Everything that they do is monster effects, so Wiz can't help you there. And also, the field spell makes them huge, and that goes for their Proto-Cyber Dragons. With the field spell, not only does Dreadnought Dunker become 3000 and prevent Wiz from stalling out, right, for Hires players, if we're stuck, we're used to just being able to sit on Wiz's gigantic butt for a turn or two to draw into some more options. But with the Dreadnought Dunker single boosted by the field spell, he ruins that butt. And even the Proto-Cyber Dragons get boosted up by 500. And that lets them attack over all of your small furries, Dompa, Scout, and Beat, and then also they can just crash into Seal. So for the Ultra Athletes in the Fur Hires matchup, you're going to want to focus on the field spell, negating the field spell with Wiz. And don't worry about the penalty box. If the opponent flips up the penalty box and you negate it with Wiz and it gets destroyed, you're actually doing them a favor, because it costs them a card, it costs you a card, you have to discard it for hire, but then they can banish the penalty box and search the field spell, which is like 2 cards. I would say let the penalty box exist, because its banish effect, while powerful, is only once per turn and it's not even permanent. The monster comes back after the second end phase. And with Wiz, you can point negate it depending on what you need. But actually the penalty box is superfluous, because for the most part, Ultra Athletes are bigger than all of your Fur Hires. So if they're not banishing them temporarily, they can just destroy them outright. So in the Ultra Athletes matchup, you're going to want to first Wiz negate the field spell, pretend extra net is the field spell. And second, you're going to want to fall back on your tech cards, particularly, again, Treacherous Trapple. So the favorite combo is Rival Rebounder, getting the blah 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 double summon, getting 2 monsters, Rival Rebounder and something else. So that's ripe fruits for the Treacherous Trapple. That's not to say that Ultra Athletes are always death for hires. Sometimes they brick, but I think it's power creep. The Ultra Athletes is simply, they counter the remaining big power of for hires, which is Wiz, both with monster effects and being huge. The third most important matchup is actually the mirror match. So the most important thing to remember in the for hires mirror match is to not overextend. If you see a Kaiba, if you see a Crowler, if they're not trying to run something like Beatdown, Hazy Never Miss, then they are probably running Beatdown for hires as well. So don't overextend. Don't dump out all of your monsters, ready and waiting for your opponent to see what you have available and then pick them off with their own Dompa going second. Even if you are going second, even if they just set one monster and then you think, oh, I can go beat, and I have a recon, and then the beat is going to search the Dyna. I'm going to recon destroy the face down, and then all those guys together, that's going to be lethal because they have back row, I guarantee it. They're going to have their own Treacherous, or even just a Mayhem, or possibly a Karibo. Even just a Mayhem can mess up your plan. Even just a Mayhem reviving whatever their set monster was can prevent lethal and enable them to counterattack. For the rest of the decks, we have Vampires. Vampires are they're like a weaker version of Ultra Athletes. That's how I think of them. They try to swarm the field. They have remote destroy effects, and they rely on their field spell. But Vampires, they don't have the raw attack power of the Ultra Athletes. They don't have the endless boost of the Ultra Athlete field spell. And even if you don't negate the field spell with Wiz, even if the field spell is able to destroy, one of your monsters, that's what we have Mayhem for. Your monster is just getting destroyed. It's not getting banished. You can bring it right back with Mayhem and then frustrate the Vampire player. Against Spellbooks, don't go second. Don't go second against a competent Spellbook player, and all of them are, because all of them are nerds. They always have it all perfectly set up, and they set a fate, and then whatever you normal summon, they're gonna banish it. But if you are going first, it's important to go into your Wiz. Wiz is crucial in this and a lot of the matchups because Wiz negates the fate, and that's going to be your focus. And don't worry about negating Spellbook of the Master or Spellbook of Secrets or their other draw cards, because you don't know what other draws they might have. But Fate is the tip of the spear. Fate is where they funnel all of their resources. So just Wiz negate the Fate and you'll be fine. Finally, Masked Heroes and Mermails. So Masked Heroes tend to not run a ton of traps. That might change, but usually they just run a bunch of spells that, like Destiny Draw and Mask Change and Cosmic Cyclone, that are gonna let them just bum rush with the Anki. But unless they luck into 2 mask changes, Wiz can just negate them every turn and prevent the transformation. And Mermails are super bricky. Unless some new Mermail technology gets delivered, unless something consistent with Sea Stealth and Mermails gets figured out, I wouldn't worry about Mermails, because unless they draw Megalo, and Megalo can't be searched except by Legendary Fisherman Mark II, but I wouldn't worry about the Mermails matchup. But if you do start seeing a lot of Mermails, if they are getting annoying, simply use Sphere Karibo. It's the same idea as Dark Worlds. As long as you can blunt that initial press. Finally, your tech cards. Tech cards you're going to want to include are Treacherous Trapple. We've been talking about it all the time. I actually consider Sea Stealth Attack to be a tech card, because you can't make a concrete strategy built all around Sea Stealth Attack, because it can't be Search. Let's see Stealth Attack, good against the Harem, obviously, and also good against Ultra Athlete. But again, it is just a tech. I wouldn't rely on it. And if your Umi field spell skill, if your Umi gets Cosmic Cyclone, that's pretty much done. I would also use Paleozoic Canadia for the mirror match, and also Spellbooks, and also Forbidden Chalice for pretty much the same reason as Paleozoic Canadia. Also important, softening up your opponent's field for the arrival of your cats, and that's going to be your Cosmic Cyclones and your Hey Trunades. You can clear off the enemy Treacherous Trap Hole, and Canadias that are going to prevent you from bringing the full feline glory of Fur Hires to bear. So, should you run Fur Hires in the KC Cup? The answer is yes. If that's the deck that you have, that's the deck you should use. Fur Hires are still a strong, coherent, and consistent deck, but I think that success with Fur Hires, because of the power creep, is going to come more from your tech choices and responding to the meta, rather than just steamrolling with the deck itself as we're used to it doing. Thank you for watching.